The collapse is almost here. We are beginning to witness the collapse of our society. We saw the presidential debate recently, and the results were absolutely horrific. There's a scene where Gail King, Oprah's best friend, actually says after the debate, how often are we going to pretend that we didn't see what we just saw? We did not see how poorly Biden was performing. The fact that he really did not know where he was. He was rambling over his words. He was confused. He could not even leave the stage by himself. Jill Biden had to escort him off the stage while telling him, "You did a good job, Joe. You answered all of the questions like a child or a person who clearly doesn't know what's happening around them." Let's go ahead and jump into some key moments from the debate, which illustrates just how poorly things are going and why the collapse is almost here.
Do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we all need to pretend we did not see that, right? Like it was such a terrible performance that everyone is reeling right now. Everyone is extremely concerned, and people are panicking. Everyone is panicking around us right now. Okay, it all Trump had to really do was stand there and let Biden speak. Let him speak. Okay, I honestly do not believe these polls that CNN is coming out with, trying to say like, oh, people still support him. Guys, everyone is frightened. All right, they're saying that he needs to step down, he needs to step aside. They're trying to get Gavin Newsom in there, but the thing is, because he's gotten so many votes at this point for the primaries, they cannot force him out. The only thing that he could do at this point, the only thing that he can do at this point is he'd have to resign. He'd have to willfully say that he's not going to continue running as president, and instead allow someone else to take it up, and that would have to happen at the DNC's Democratic National Convention. But yeah, it's looking very, very bad. It's bad, and this is how society's collapsed. And of course, people are saying, well, if this is his performance, if he cannot even walk on his own, if he cannot even talk on his own, how is he making decisions in the White House? How is he signing important documents? How is he handling foreign affairs? Who are the people that are helping him to make these decisions, or who are the people that are making these decisions for him? These are very, very valid questions. It's very, very valid. They're very, very valid questions. And now people are beginning to panic. Now people are absolutely beginning to panic, and it's right where people can see it. There's no denying it anymore. There's no dancing around it anymore. Everyone saw that. Everyone saw his performance in this thing. The Republic. Now, many of you may not know, but at the time of making this video, the the Supreme Court has actually ruled that presidents do have some immunity in terms of being president. They have immunity when they are committed, when they're involved in official acts as president, but they are not. They do not have immunity when they're involved in unofficial acts. What that basically means is if you're carrying out the functions of the president of the United States, you would be you would have immunity from prosecution for anything you do carrying out the functions of the United States. You would not have immunity. So it doesn't matter if people don't like what you do. It doesn't matter if people think the acts that you're doing are criminal in nature. Okay. but you would basically be secure from prosecution for pretty much anything you do as president, as long as it is clearly, as being done in as you as an official act of the president, right? Now, on the other hand, and this is where things become very, very crazy. In the case of Joe Biden, you know that he took documents from the White House back when he was president and maybe even senator. He had official documents. He evidently shared these official documents with others. You could actually invoke the 25th Amendment that could potentially remove him from office. And now what's happening with the Republicans is they're demanding access to those they're demanding access to those files. They're demanding that the Department of Justice hand over the audio recordings they did when they interviewed the president regarding him taking those documents, because they basically want to show that he is incoherent, and that he's because they basically said that the DOJ basically said he would not be able to stand trial. So they want those recordings. They want to play those recordings, and they want to use those to potentially invoke the 25th Amendment to have him removed from office on the grounds that he is too incompetent to continue serving as president. And that is something that's happening right now. That is something that is 100% happening right now, and we really have to watch out for it. House Republicans sue Attorney General Garland over access to Biden's special counsel audio interview. The Washington House, the Republicans on Monday filed a lawsuit against Attorney General Merrick Garland for the audio recordings of President Joe Biden's interview with special counsel in his classified document case, asking the courts to enforce their subpoena and reject the White House's effort to withhold the materials from Congress. The reason why they are doing this is because they are trying to invoke the 25th Amendment, and they're trying to show that he is incompetent, and they want to use those recordings that were conducted by the DOJ and basically the findings of the DOJ to basically say once and for all, look at the recordings from here, look at his performance in the debate. He's obviously not making decisions as president. Who's actually making the decisions? We need to investigate. Has he been the one even signing everything? And if he is signing these documents, who's basically guiding him through the process? How coherent is he? We can basically say at this point that he does need to have a cognitive exam done. He needs to have a cognitive test done. And guys, he will never pass a cognitive test. No way in hell. They'll say something along the lines of, and it should be probably independent of the White House or whatever. He will not pass a cognitive test. He absolutely will not. We can see it at this point. So this is how societies collapse. Like, we are heading into something very, very different right now. We are heading into uncharted waters, and we're going to see the outcome of this very, very soon. So we all have to be aware of it. We all have to be ready for it, because this is some really, really serious stuff. And again, I don't trust any of the polls that say, oh, people are still supporting Joe. Like, after the whole debate, he was on stage giving a speech, and he seemed extremely coherent. And someone said, yeah, this is the difference when he has to think on his feet versus when he's speaking, reading from a teleprompter or note cards. Okay? It's the honest to goodness truth. People don't realize that these presidents are all reading from teleprompters. They are all reading from teleprompters. There was an example, I think it was with George W. Bush, where he was like, the teleprompter went off. No, actually, I think it was actually with Obama. The teleprompter went off, and Obama basically couldn't give his speech anymore. And say what you want about, Slick Willie, but, something like that happened with Bill Clinton back when he was president, and the teleprompter went off, but he just kept on speaking, and no one even realized it because he was such a brilliant speaker. He was a Rhodes Scholar. But in the case of, ironically, the case I think it was of Obama, the teleprompter went off, and he basically could no longer articulate himself very well. All right. And this is someone who's a very intelligent person, but these people are speaking from teleprompters. If there's one guy who can give a speech without a teleprompter, it's Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump. You can see it. You can see his performance during the debate. This guy is unbelievable. He is so sharp. All right. He is so damn sharp at 78 years old. And versus Joe Biden, you take away the teleprompter and he's done. We have two different kinds of memory, guys. Well, maybe they break it up however they choose to, but we have cultural memory, and then we have our crystallized memory, and then we have cognitive memory. So basically, our ability to think reasonably, logically, solve problems, problem solving, we have that form of memory. All right. And then we have crystallized memory, which is basically our cultural memory, knowledge that we've gathered over the course of our lives. All right. So when you look at Joe Biden, he's not accessing either. He can barely remember things that have happened throughout his life. He's not able to pull up on these things, nor is he able to think logically and rationally and solve problems. So, realistically, he's just basically reading off things at this point. He's just basically reading off a teleprompter at this point. This this is the collapse. Look at the massive inflation. Look at our situation right now where people are living off credit. Look at what's happening around us. Look at the world around us and our situation. And guys, right now the military is only 1/10 of what it was 50 years ago. We only have 190,000 reservists right now, people in the military reserves, versus 50 years ago where it was 1.9 million. And you've got idiots like, oh, we don't need to worry. We have AI and we have machines and robots that are drones that will fight our battles for us. We don't need boots on the ground. And these other countries, we don't need to worry about them. They don't have the money or the resources or the manpower to go up against us. It's not there will never be any more major wars. Guys, this is how bad this I'm telling you, these guys are on such copium right now. And if something goes really wrong, well, America has lots of firearms, so the people will protect us. Jesus help us. God help us. Guys, do you agree the collapse is almost here? Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.